guys, if you are watching, we will be starting very, very shortly. Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. It's been a minute, right? I don't even know. Actually, no, it hasn't been that long. We did our last video about 2 weeks ago, and this is something very new we're trying out, this little sign. So I think it's working really well, where we actually start the video a little bit before 7 o'clock or right around 7 o'clock. And today it actually took forever just to get into Facebook, but here we are. So I'm going to move this lovely sign that hopefully you guys will be seeing it every time we do a video going forward, and I hope it keeps on working. So it just allows people to join, because sometimes it takes a little bit. And so anyway, this is our new strategy. And actually, you guys came up with it. So thank you so much for letting us know. And today we're going to make a very spooky spider. No, not really. These are not all that spooky. They're cute, they're fun, they're very friendly spiders. So the spiders we're going to be making today have a little Lampwork body, and in the kit they're going to be supplies so that you can make 3 spiders, and each one of them has a different little Lampwork butt. How scandalous, right? Not really. They're just fun and seasonal, and I don't know, maybe you noticed I'm wearing a couple of spiders. Here's one of my little spider friends. I'm wearing him on my sleeve, and this is one of the spiders from last year. So every year I do some type of a spider project, and every year it's something a little bit different. And so this is this year's little spider collection, which is already in our online shop. It's not in our Etsy shop. We have a different Eclectica online shop, and you will find my little arachnid friends in that shop.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy, beautiful Thursday.
Hi, Fonda. Good evening, my friend, and thank you for joining.
And she adds, always love these spiders.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much.
Diane says, hello.
Hi, Diane.
Althea says, hi, everyone. How cute.
Hello, Althea. Thank you so much. My spiders are saying thank you, and they're doing the happy dance because you guys are here.
Katie says, happy Thursday, all.
Hi, Katie, and happy Thursday to you. Okay, my friends. So, was it last Friday? I don't know. Sometimes they all just kind of run together. But I think it was last Friday that the Friday before, when we did the Halloween shopping event. And just for fun, I showed these little pumpkin earrings, and I only showed them as inspiration. I didn't mean for them to be like a project. Well, I guess you guys like my little pumpkins, and you asked me to do a little demo, and this is so easy and so very, very quick. So this is going to be my bonus pumpkin demo at the very end of today's video. So obviously the main event are the spiders, and then for a little dessert we're going to have pumpkins. So if you want to stick around for the pumpkins, That will be a super quick demo. They're very easy, they're very fun. And in fact, just before the video, I decided, you know what, I really like the other color of these as well. They're very metallic and super blushy. And so I made another little sample. I only made one because literally it was right before the video. And I thought, you know, I have been intrigued by this other color. And so anyway, this is what we'll do after we make a spider. So why don't we get started?
Trudy says, hi, everyone.
Hi, Trudy.
Allie says, pretty spiders.
Thank you so much, Allie. So I'm going to put my little spider guys right here. They're going to be watching the whole thing. So we are going to start with putting the head and the body of the spider on a little piece of 18 gauge wire. So when you open your kits, you will find about 10 inches of 18 gauge wire. So you'll find a larger coil of 20 gauge wire and just short length of the 18 gauge wire. And the 18 gauge wire we're only using to put the head and the body on. So we're going to do just that right now. So obviously you're going to have to cut a segment of wire, and you need about 2.5 to 3 inches for the body. And what I like to do is make a big loop on one side and a smaller loop on the other side, and you can pick which side is which. So obviously I made a 90-degree angle, and now I'm going to use my round nose pliers to make a loop. So this is going to be our hanging loop, and I like the hanging loop to be at the head of the spider.
Fonda says, cute pumpkin earrings.
Thank you so much, Fonda. So simple. Okay, guys, and so now we're going to put his head on, and for the heads we're using, actually these are vintage check beads, and they're in assorted sizes. So I don't know if you saw that some of the heads are bigger, some of the heads are smaller. And you get to decide which body goes with which head. And so now I'm going to put his body on. And I'm going to use my flat nose pliers to just hold on right here and make an angle. So this is another 90-degree angle, and if you noticed, what I did is I actually used the width of my flat nose as a measurement. So between the body and the 90-degree angle, it's about 5 millimeters or so. And if it's 4, that's okay. If it's 6, that's okay. So it's a little bit loosey-goosey, but I just feel like the flat nose works really well. And if you don't have a flat nose, it's 5 millimeter. We'll just say it's 5 millimeters. And now I'm going to cut the excess wire. And I left myself enough of this wire for just another small loop. So this is not our hanging loop. This is just the loop that helps hold everything on. And this is such a small loop that I'm just going to finish it with my flat nose pliers. And yeah, this is why we don't normally do this, because of course the wire is slippery. Well, no worries. We can work around that by just going back and forth with the wire, and here we go. We just made a small loop. So the reason we left a little bit of space is because we're going to spread the head bead and the body bead apart. And right here in this little segment in between the body and the head, we are going to attach the legs. So we'll just leave that for a moment. And I have already pre-cut my leg wires. So this is 20 gauge wire. And we are going to fold each one in half because each segment of wire is going to make 2 legs. And so I'm just folding them in half just by hand, with my hands. And this is dead soft wire. And the reason I chose dead soft for this is because with half hard, it's a little bit harder to wrap in this gauge. If I were working with a smaller gauge, like for example, we have Christmas spiders, they're a little bit smaller, and for the legs, they use 24 gauge, and 24 gauge is quite a bit smaller than 20 gauge. Well, with that, working with half hard is a must. But I feel like with the 20 gauge dead soft is a little bit, it's a better choice. So I have bent, and by the way, when you get your kit, you will find a coil of 20 gauge wire. And for each set of legs, I'm using 6 inches. So clearly I have already pre-cut this wire into 6-inch segments. And you know, if you are thinking maybe you want slightly larger feet, you know, the spirals are the feet. So that we're going to be making at the very end. And so if you like larger spirals, maybe cut your wire to about 6.5 inches. And that is still per 2 legs. So anyway, and you do have a little extra wire in your kit. So now I'm going to take this set of 2 legs. And sometimes, you know, the other thing I like to do, and this is not a oh, you know what? I just realized that instead of grabbing a flat nose and a chain nose, I grabbed myself 2 flat noses. So maybe I will ask Tony to grab a flat nose right off my desk. I just taught a class where we made chains, and I accidentally left my chain nose pliers on my desk in the classroom. So while he's getting that for me, I will just tell you what I'm about to do. So this is very much an optional step, but when you start wrapping the leg wire around the body, it sort of spins, and there's nothing wrong with spinning, but it just makes things a little bit more challenging. So what I like to do, and thank you Tony for grabbing these for me, so what I'm going to do is just give it a little squeeze. And this is essentially very similar to hammering the wire, but maybe just a little bit more gentle. So you see what I'm doing. I am just squeezing this with my chain nose pliers, and it's doing a couple of things. It's both hardening the wire as well as creating a little bit of a flat surface. So it's not very flat. It's not like after hammering. If you really wanted to, you could pre-hammer the wire before you put the beads on, and that would be okay too. But just a little, you know, a little squeeze with our chain nose, I think that does the job just fine for something like this. And so now we're going to start wrapping the leg wire around that little segment that I just flattened. So it may be that just the one time wrapping the legs is enough. Or it may be that you need to maybe wrap it a little bit more. And what I like to do is I like to make it nice and snug as I go. So I'm giving it just a little squeeze with my chain nose pliers, give it a little squeeze. And that will wrap it a little more. And at this point, there's no top or bottom. So wherever I have my my wire on top, coming out on top right here, that is going to be the top of the spider. But if you forget that, it's just not a big deal. Either side can be the top or the bottom until we start shaping the spider. And so now I am introducing the second pair of legs, and I'm going to do the same thing as with the first pair of legs. And again, I'm trying to be nice and snug as I wrap. And also, again, I may leave it at just 2 coils, or maybe I will wrap an extra coil, and that is totally fine. So pretty much, just wrap as many times as it takes. And either way, with some of the wires, we are going to go on top of the initial few coils. It just happens like that. And I'm going to try to position the legs so they're fairly equidistant. So here, this is going to be one of the legs, and I will start wrapping right over the initial set of coils. And what you'll find is that when you start wrapping over the initial set of coils, all of a sudden everything tightens up really nicely, especially if you are using the chain nose to kind of snug it up a little bit. So look at my legs, or the spider's legs. So it looks like I need a leg coming out of right here to mirror this leg, so close to the head. So we'll separate these a little bit, and I'll place this leg right next to the head. And now I will do a little coiling. And it seems a little bit crowded here, so maybe we'll coil once more. So as you can see, this is a very, very organic process. You might be making 1 coil, or you might be making 2 coils. It's whatever it takes to make it really nice and snug, but also at the same time, we want our legs somewhat equidistant. And if they're not, that's okay. We can also adjust things as we start beading. We can bend our wire. So right now, I'm just pulling on each one of the legs to straighten it a little bit. And once we have the beads on, that's when we really do the shaping. And I know some of you have seen this like a million times, but every time I do this, it's new, it's a little bit exciting because I use different beads, and it's just fun to play with these. Okay, so there is my future spider with all of his bare legs. And so now we're going to put some beads on his legs. And the beads we have are all sorts of fun beads. So we are going to start with these black 6/0 seed beads. And then we also have some white 6/0 seed beads. And we have some orange rondelles, glass rondelles. And finally, we have these fun chunky bicones. So I'm going to start from right here, right next to the head, between the head and the body. And so so here, we'll just leave this guy right here for a little inspiration. So while I'm beading, does anyone have any plans for Halloween?
Cherie says, hello, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Cherie. Thanks for joining us. So glad you're here. Okay, so I have my 3 little 8/0 beads. So these are size 8/0. And next, I'm going to put a wide bead on. And again, this is also 8/0. And then we have a little orange bead, of course, you know, colors of the season. And another white bead. And a bicone. And now we're going to put another white bead on here and another orange bead. Well, while you guys are thinking about what you're doing for Halloween, I'll tell you what one of the things we're doing for Halloween. We do enjoy Halloween, I have to say. But also, I want to show you, this is what it looks like so far. And obviously, I'm spending a little bit of time on the pattern because, you know, every leg of the spider is going to be exactly the same. And you can go with my exactly the same pattern, or you can create your own pattern. You do have some extra beads. So if you want to play with the pattern and do something a little bit different, that is totally fine. And we're going to finish with an orange faceted bead. And there we go. That is one spider leg. Isn't that a good looking spider leg? Okay, so I shared last year that we like to go to Old World, Wisconsin for Legends and Lore. They have this wonderful, very kind of old-fashioned and lovely event. It's great for kids, great for adults. I don't know what category we fall into, but it doesn't matter because we just really enjoy this event. So anyway, this is what the leg looks like. And I'm going to put away all my little beads because I don't want to, I mean, it's fun for me to do this, but I know you want to see the next step. So we're just going to jump over to the next step because through the magic of Facebook Live, guess what? Look at this. This whole spider with all of his legs are beaded already. So now we're going to figure out what happens next. So here, let me move this guy. And yeah, that, and we're also thinking about possibly having a party for Halloween. We haven't done that in a few years. So maybe it's time. Okay, so this is what the spider looks like once you beaded all of the legs. And so at this point, we're going to start finishing the legs. And just for reference, I cut the legs on this guy to about 6 1/4 inches. And look at how much extra wire I have. So 6 inches should be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to start making little loops. And this is with the very end of my round nose pliers. So normally I don't like to make loops with my round nose pliers, with the end of my round nose pliers, because they're very tiny. But this is the one time when we want really little tiny loops, because they're actually not functional loops. They don't connect to anything, but instead they're just the beginning of a spiral on each one of the legs. And I do not pre-cut the legs until after I have started my loops. It's just easier this way. So I'm starting the loops at maybe just a little bit shorter than an inch. So like 7/8 of an inch, we'll say. And so I'm going to make a loop on each one of his legs. So there we go. So we have all these little loops. And these beads I'm using today, so these, I should tell you about the beads. They're kind of fun. So this one is actually a Millefiori bead. And they're all going to be just a little bit different. You guys know what Millefiori looks like. But wait, we have another Millefiori bead. So this one has a little flower. So each one is going to be just a little bit different. And this one is really special. This is actually a vintage Japanese Lampwork bead. And these are something like over 70 years old at this point, because they were made in occupied Japan. And the occupation was, I want to say, okay, Tony knows. He's volunteering to tell us.
1946 to 1951.
Very good. So it ended in 1951. So these beads were made prior to 1951. So that's pretty cool. Okay, ladies. And so now that I have all these little loops, I am going to cut off all of the excess wire. So when you cut off the excess wire, maybe you finished the loop, maybe you didn't finish the loop, but please be sure to cut off anything that is not rounded. So if you don't have a full loop for this, that is perfectly fine. But if you don't have a complete loop and you have a little bit of straight wire, like this becomes straight right here, we don't want any straight wire. We want all of our wire nicely curved into a loop. So cut off anything that is not curved.
Allie says, love the Millefiori.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much, Allie. Okay, so this is what I did. So I have a little unfinished loop on each one of the legs. And at this point, I like to switch over to my chain nose pliers. And we're going to not only finish the loop, but also give it a little squeeze. And I'm squeezing the loop to make it just a little bit smaller, just because I don't want to have a hole in the middle of the spiral, or at least not a large hole in the middle of the spiral. So finishing each loop and minimizing the size of it. But you know, if you want to leave a little bit of an opening in the spiral, there's nothing bad about it. And the last one. Okay, and squeeze. All right, so now we have a closed, very small loop at the end of every one of the legs. And at this point, I'm going to use my flat nose pliers to complete each spiral. So if you have never made spirals, you might want to just practice some spirals just with a little scrap wire. Spirals are really very, very easy to do, but you have to get like a little bit of a rhythm. You can see how all I'm doing is I'm just opening and closing my flat nose pliers. And as I open and close, each time I close, I re-grip the loop and then eventually the spiral. And I'm guiding the spiral with my finger right here. So you can, whatever is comfortable for you, you can hold it like this. For me, it's comfortable just to do it at the side of my finger like this. So I'm not really doing a whole lot of this action. You will find you'll get very tired if you're doing that. It's actually a little bit hard on your hand. But the way I'm doing it is maybe there's just a little bit of motion from my my flat nose hand, and mostly there's motion on behalf of the finger that is guiding the spiral like that. So, but you try different ways, try this way, try going like this, see if it feels comfortable for you. And I will point out that I'm not doing it at the very end of my flat nose pliers, but rather with the side of the flat nose pliers. And you see where I'm holding it. The further you hold it into your flat nose between the jaws, the easier it becomes, because you want to have a really nice grip, and that is where you find that you have the best grip. Okay, so we just made all of the little spirals, but now our spider is still very flat. He looks a little sad. He looks maybe like he was run over. Or maybe he's just taking a nap.
He's very tired.
Very tired. And so now we're going to shape him. And maybe I'll I like lining up the loop first. And sometimes I have the loop facing this way where you can really see the loop. Sometimes the loop is vertical. So just position it however you feel it should be. And then we're going to start bending all of his little extremities. And so first, he needs to have joints, because how else is he going to walk? And so sometimes I will bend the legs up like this, like something like that. So maybe we'll do that on this side, bend the legs up, and then bend the legs at the knee. This is like spider calisthenics, where we're helping him. So, okay, so he's starting to look like a spider now. And then I also like to make his feet horizontal. And that we're going to do with our flat nose pliers.
Joanne says, I can't wait to make these to hang on my Halloween tree.
Oh, yay, Joanne. That's awesome. I love that you have a Halloween tree. We have some neighbors who have a tree as well, a Halloween tree. Okay, so this is what he looks like. So now we can really kind of play with his legs. I mean, if you like him just the way he is right now, great. I do like putting his legs a little bit like more, so 2 legs go in front, 2 legs go in back, something like that. 2 legs just kind of, you know, so we just position all of the legs in pairs. Unless, of course, you know, you can make one leg just kind of wave, you know. This is like a welcome spider. This is his greeting right here. But anyway, mostly I like to have the legs parallel to one another. So we'll just put it right back. Okay, and lastly, depending on how tight you got all the wires, you might find that some of the legs are still spinning or moving. Well, there's a very, very simple remedy to that. And that, you know, that is one of my favorite glues in the world. That is a super new glue. And so what we're going to do is we'll put him on his back right now. And we're going to glue all of his little legs in place. Well, first, I will make sure that I like the positioning of the body. So I'm actually turning the body a little bit because he has a little orange on this side. And so now that I'm happy with where the body is, you know, what colors we can see on the body, I'm happy with the loop. So now we are just going to fix all of the legs in place by putting just a drop of glue right on the wire part. You don't have to put it on the legs, you don't have to put it anywhere else, but you know, if you get a little extra glue on it, it doesn't matter because it dries clear, so it's totally fine. But honestly, all you need to do is just maybe have 1 drop of glue. And this will probably take, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And then we'll revisit. So in the meantime, I will move him just like this on a little piece of paper. And then we're going to start getting ready for the pumpkins.
Barb says, looking pretty lifelike.
Oh, thank you so much.
Allie says, our Halloween tree is decorated too. We change it out for the holidays throughout the year.
Oh, wow. Nice. So you have a tree, like a whole tree throughout the year?
Yeah, it looks like, okay, so she has it for Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, and St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my gosh, Allie,
I'm just reading the emojis, so I'm pretty sure
you're
that's what it
just
is.
too cute. That is adorable. I've never heard of such a thing, but I love it. That is very, very festive. Okay, my friends, so these are my pumpkins. And so when I first saw, they only come in 2 colors, by the way. So there is this very pumpkin-y sort of color with a little AB finish. And over that orange pumpkin color, AB actually looks a little bit rosy, you know, it's really pretty. And then there is the metallic color. So the metallic color is really interesting because each bead has a blushy side and then more of like a green side. And I really love the blushy side. I really like it as a pumpkin. I'm not super fond of the green side as a pumpkin, but good thing, you can turn it, the blushy side out, so that this is what you see when you wear the earrings. So I just did that just before the video, and I was, you know, quite happy with myself and the result of this. So this is how you do it. It's so easy, you guys. It's like, I don't know. I wasn't really going to do a demo until several people asked me to. And then I said, sure, why not? If you guys want a demo, you get a demo. And I'm going to be doing this with 28 gauge wire. which is very, very thin, obviously. It's 28 gauge. And we're going to cut, about 15 inches or so.
Cherie says, I love the little pumpkins.
Oh, thank you so much, Cherie. So anyway, I was only going to show the pumpkins the one time, remember when we did the Halloween shopping event? But because I'm doing the demo, we thought, okay, some people did not necessarily come to the Halloween shopping event. So if you're interested in the pumpkins, we are treating this as, just the same way we did the Halloween shopping event, except there are only 2 things. And you put in the comments what you like and how many of it you want. And we will send it to you with your spiders or by themselves or however you order them. Also, by the way, tomorrow we're doing a video and I'll do a preview. And if you are showing up for tomorrow's shopping event, which is amber, then we'll just combine the little pumpkin beads with your amber. And it's not just amber, it's a little bit more than just amber. But anyway, I'll talk about that at the very end.
Allie says, yes, we have a 3-foot tree in our family room, containers for each holiday stash of ornaments.
Oh my goodness, you are so festive and so organized. You know what? It's because you're a teacher. That's why you're so organized. Good for you. You should come and help me organize. Okay, guys. So, I have this little wire. Remember, we just cut it. It is about 15 inches. And again, it's a very thin wire. It's 28 gauge wire. It looks, where did I put it? It looks like this. It is artistic wire. That's what I use. And if anybody needs artistic wire, you can just put that in the comments. We didn't really prepare to sell it today, but if you don't have any, just put it in the comments, please. And we do carry it in copper and also in silver, as you can see. I like silver with this one. I would also actually like gold with this one too. So anyway, I folded it over like this. So this is the center of the wire. And I am just going to go through the pumpkin. And the pumpkin has these lovely little grooves, which is what makes this so very, very easy. So I really like how the wire looks when you put it in the grooves. It's just like a really wonderful little highlight for the glass. It's always nice to have a little metallic sheen. So what I'm doing is I'm going through the center of the pumpkin, and each time I go through the center of the pumpkin, I go through the next groove, or into the next groove, I should say. And right now I'm just working with the one side of my wire. And once I get to about half or so, I'm going to start working with the other side of the wire. So the reason I like doing it this way is because then I don't have to work with very long wire. I essentially cut the length of the wire in half, which just makes it, I think, a lot easier. So now I'm working with the other half of the wire. And let me just show you. So this is what it looks like so far. Does the camera pick up the little wires?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yay. That makes me very, very happy. I think it's just, it kind of makes it, because it's a small bead and it's super cute even on its own without the wire. But I think the wire just makes it a little little bit more exciting. So when you pull the wire, just pull it nice and tight. And as you start filling up the hole, you may need to use your pliers a little bit to just kind of push it through. You know what I did? I accidentally crossed wires, and that's not the best thing to do. And I noticed a little bit too late. So, you know, when you do this, just try not to cross your wires, because now I'm struggling just a tiny bit, and I'll cut this little bit off. So I'm struggling just a little bit because of those crossed wires. But when you guys do this, just take your time and make sure you don't cross any wires, and then you'll have plenty of room. Okay, so I know I can get it through. Maybe this way. And you know, it always happens this way. If anything's going to go awry, it happens on camera.
Allie says such a clever way to use the wire. It looks like it's in a little cage.
Thank you so much, Allie. Yeah, you're essentially building a little cage for the pumpkin.
Barb says, I joined late. How is that spider attached to your sleeve?
Oh, well, it is actually a pin. And this is a project from last year. We still have these kits. So if you saw any of my pin videos, it's really, really easy to make a pin just with wire. So I believe this is still in our Etsy shop. It's called Gothic Spider. I think Tony is probably checking it right now. Are you checking it? No, he's not able to check it right this moment. But anyway, I'm pretty sure, I'm like almost positive that this Gothic Spider is still in the Etsy shop. And when you get the kit, it provides the link to the video. But even if you don't get the kit, if you look for Gothic Spiders, you will find the video on how to make the pins. Okay, so this is what I forgot to say. So this last time, and I did manage to push it through, and so the last time it goes through, it will actually be a double wire on one of the sides. Oh, you know what? This is I wasn't paying attention, and I thought it was because I crossed the wires that I didn't have a whole lot of room, but it's actually I overachieved. I went through too many times. So you'll just go through one less time than I did. Okay, so just once in every groove, but I'm going to end up with 2 double wires, okay, because I went through twice. I don't know if that made any sense, but you'll know when you're doing it. So now that I have at least one wire pass in every groove, now I'm going to bring one of the wires towards the other, and we're going to say that this is the top. So now I am just going to make a really long twisty with this double wire. So see how I'm twisting the wire? And it's very tiny wire, so it's going to take you a little bit, so bear with me. So once I started that twisty, I'm going to hold on to it gently with my chain nose pliers. So it's important that you hold on with your chain nose pliers, only because if you are not holding on to it, you will twist it right off the pumpkin. So we are going to make a twisty that's maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches. And so I'm just going to keep going, but every so often I might move my chain nose pliers, and also I might gently tighten with my flat nose pliers, and then just keep moving your chain nose pliers. So this twisty is going to become our loop, and then we're going to wrap the loop, and then we're also going to make a little tendril. You know how like when the pumpkins grow, they have those beautiful little tendrils, and so we are going to make this twisty into all of that, the loop, the wrap for the loop, and the tendril, and that is why it has to be a little bit long. So I think I'm going to stop right about here, and just for fun, I'm going to measure it. So this is about 1.5 inches, and you know, if need be, I can always make it a little longer too. So right now, I'm going to start my wrap loop. And you guys, I'm sure you have made a schmillion wrap loops. So just treat this as any wire that you're making a wrap loop with. So I just made a 90-degree angle with my chain nose. And as you can see, I left a little bit of room for the coiling. So now I'm going to switch to my round nose pliers, and I'm going to make the actual loop. And so there's our loop. You guys can see the loop, right? Okay. And now with my chain nose pliers, I'm going to hold on to the loop. So this is just making a loop. You know, you've made lots and lots of loops. And so here is my wrap loop.
Perfect.
Yay. And now I think I'm just going to twist a tiny bit more, only because I want to make a nice long tendril. So maybe like close to 1 inch of twist for the tendril, and then we'll just do a little tightening, and then we'll cut off the excess wire.
Cherie says, I bet antique copper wire would be pretty on this too.
It would absolutely be pretty. And you can try gold, you can try silver, you can try any wire that makes you happy. So now I have this long piece, and it should be right around 1 inch. Yeah, just a little bit over 1 inch. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers to start it at the end. But then I'm also going to switch to this side. So, but really you can do it however it makes sense to you. So all I'm doing is just creating a really long tendril. And I'm not making it tight, I'm making it kind of nice and open so that it actually looks like a tendril. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Awesome. And the very, very end, it's a little bit sharp, right? So we don't want that just kind of poking out. So we're going to feed that right into the tendril so that I actually cannot feel it with my finger. It's kind of inside of that tendril.
Cherie says it turned out so pretty and cool.
Well, thank you so much, Cherie. Okay, and as our last little finishing touch, you can, and you know, this is optional, but I do think that where's my wire? It's right here. So I do think that that little green bead just adds a little magic to our pumpkin, right? So we will do that. I still have some of my Swarovski green bicones. And this is a 3mm, by the way. So you can always upsize or downsize. I mean, how do you downsize from 3mm? I guess you can use a seed bead, or you can just, you can use whatever. You can use an 8/0, you can use an 11/0, you can use any little green bead. It does not have to be a bicone. But because I still have Swarovski bicones, or you can use non-Swarovski, you can use Preciosa, just use whatever you have, a little green bead. And so I'm just going to make a little twisty with that as well. And once I started with my fingers, just as before, I'm going to hold on to it with my chain nose pliers, tighten it with my flat nose pliers, and the way it's going to be the easiest is if I make kind of a longish twisty, and then I cut off the ends, and as I wrap it around the pumpkin, I just treat it as a solid piece of wire.
Barb says, I think it would look cute on a dainty necklace as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Thank you so much, Barb. Because this one, it's just going to be a single one, and I think I'm going to put it on like a lobster clasp, and then I can clasp it to any of my necklaces. So it doesn't have to be specifically a Halloween necklace, but you know, it's like it can make anything just a little bit more festive and a little bit more holiday-ish. Okay, so I twisted maybe just a little bit under 1 inch. Maybe I should have done a little bit more, but you know what? We'll just make this work. So look at this. All I'm going to do is simply wrap this little and around with my chain nose pliers, or you could make a loop and just hang it from that. However you want to do it. I like to actually wrap it right around the loop, because then it's stationary, it's not dangling, and it's easier to put it in place and it'll just stay there.
Katie says, so cute.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Fonda says these would look cute on a Halloween or fall type charm bracelet.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Okay, and there we go. So I made this a little bit longer this time. I'm not sure if I like it longer, but if you don't like it longer, you can just turn it or like scrunch it up, put it right in front of the pumpkin if you want. So just play with it until you're happy. And then I had my ear wire right here, and we'll just throw it on the ear wire and done. And, oh, okay. So I guess we'll just go from this end and close the ear wire. I thought it would fit in the loop, but no, the loop was too small. But either way, it fits. So there we go. There's our little pumpkin. And I used a different green this time. So I have the emerald green, and these are, I think maybe I like them. I forget what this color is, maybe like grass green. I think I like the grass green a little better, just because these are a little bit more fall-like, I think. And again, this is what it looks like with the metallic pumpkin. So there you go. We have our choice of pumpkins. Okay, my friends, so as you know, our spider kits are already in the shop, not in the Etsy shop. Don't look for them in the Etsy shop. They're in the Shopify shop. And these are new from this year. But we also have But those actually, are those in the Etsy shop? The other spiders, all the other spiders. We actually have a lot of really great spider options from last year. And some of those may be in the Etsy shop actually. Like the Gothic spiders, like this guy, you know, the one I'm wearing, the pin. And these are very easy too. It's literally the same exact spider, except when you make the body, you build in a little extra wire and then shape it into a pin. And just like this video, I show you exactly how to do it from beginning to end.
Cherie says, love these.
Thank you so much, Cherie.
And Veronica says, so cute.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. But wait, don't go away just yet, because I'm about to tell you about all of the exciting things that are coming up. So, if you join me tomorrow, October 3rd at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, on the Eclectica Beads Facebook page. And that is, by the way, that's the page where I do all of the shopping events. So this event, even though there was a little shopping component, but it was really not typical. So tomorrow we're having the shopping event, and I'm going to be showing some absolutely breathtakingly beautiful amber. And I have done a trunk show with this company before. It's actually someone who imports Baltic amber. And this is such stunning amber at crazy, crazy good prices. Amber has gone up in prices so much, and it's hard to find amazing quality amber like this. So this is actual Baltic amber that is cut by the best artisans in the Baltic region. And this is what we're doing tomorrow. So it's going to be very, very exciting. And I have a few other little surprises other than the amber as well. And then on Monday, we have been doing those stitching kits and bead packs in the Monday videos. And so this Monday, October 6th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, again on the Eclectica Beads Facebook page, please join me for the great deals on stitching kits and bead packs. Then, but wait, there's more. So my next Thursday video is going to be November 6th. And that is like a full month from now. And so we're going to be in the Christmas season. It's going to be exciting. And so what I'm going to be showing on Thursday, November 6th is holiday projects. And it's yet to be announced. We've had such a busy September so far, and we're just catching up. And I have a lot of fun ideas for the coming holiday season, but it's still going to be a surprise. So as soon as we know what the project or projects are, it'll probably be multiples like I usually do. As soon as we know, we're going to swap out the event picture, so you guys will be the first to know. Oh, but wait, there's more. So last year, we tried this event, which was 12 Days of Christmas, and it was wonderful. We all had a great time. I think it all put us in a very festive mood. But the one comment I got from you guys, from multiple people, is do it a little earlier, right? So that we can create things for the holidays. So I listened, and we are starting it a little earlier. We're starting 12 Days of Christmas on November 10th. So all 12 days are going to be in November, I believe. And of course, it's going to be fun as usual. It's going to be a little bit of a mix of projects and shopping events. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. And of course, it's going to be super, super festive. Okay, my friends, and that is our plan. So lots of fun things coming up, lots of events, and of course, I hope to see you at all of them. So that's it. So my little spiders are super happy you joined us today, and please join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your comments and for your orders, and have a wonderful and creative evening.